I am part of the Learning Spaces project this year, and we have all new furniture in our classroom.
It used to be like over there, we didn't have that rug, and then we added that, and then we didn't have that over there.
We have created 3 main spaces in the room, one being our gathering space, which is over by the smartboard and rocking chair. We have watering holes, which are known as spaces for collaboration and small group work. And we also have cave spaces, which are more spaces where students work by themselves.
I just try to find where nobody is working so then I can get all my work done, and when I'm focused, I don't hear anything.
They have shown that they enjoy those spaces when they feel like they need some quiet or working with one other person.
I like a nice quiet place to work that I can really concentrate on my work, what I'm doing. And I like sometimes a little table or to go over there with a bench.
Through my observations, I've been able to see how they define the spaces. So right behind me, these 4 tables, they used to be separated and there were 2 groups of 2. And when we put the 4 spaces together, the students found a way to collaborate and have about 10 students working together at the same time. You'll notice that there are not names on any of the desks. Everyone chooses their learning space depending on what the work is for the day.
I like it because we don't have to have assigned seats and work where it's really noisy, so we can't concentrate on their work.
I will typically ask the students where their best learning spot will be for the task that they are going to work on.
I really like the lap desk because you can work in different places, so they're not like just you have to work on that rug. I really like the window because I can see like all of the clouds and trees and birds.
I have 14 desks for 22 students. They move around the room very independently. Typically, they will choose to work together in a small space or work on the floor.
It's really cool to have all this stuff because you can work now like wherever you want.
Our classroom has changed. Instead of me being the teacher in the front of the classroom, my role has truly become being a facilitator for the students' learning. They define the classroom, and I am sometimes a guest in their space. Using this space and the technology that we have been provided, they show their learning in so many different ways that are truly unexpected and surprise parents and teachers alike, and I think the students too.
My teaching has changed this year with the new classroom furniture in a few different ways. One way it's changed is it has allowed me to create more group-based, collaboration-focused projects.
It's very flexible, so I don't have to sit at one place. At just one desk, I can sit in any of these places.
It has also allowed me to focus on creativity and group work. So I've noticed that my students are impacted because they're allowed to choose where they sit.
It's changed my learning experience because you don't have to sit in like one desk and you can choose your spot every day.
We talk a lot about how you can do your best learning and what that looks like, and they make a choice based on that.
If like you're with all your friends and you move to a different spot, it may help you focus more.
I've seen them take a little more ownership over their learning and really reflect on how and what they need. And they're allowed to move around. So the different types of seats allow them for more or less movement depending on how they work best.
It's been easier to learn since it's very flexible.
So that's about it.
This year there's been several changes going on in the classroom. Not only the learning spaces, but also the 8th graders have their tablets. So as far as some changes, the students are really starting to enjoy the tablets. There's much more accountability because the students have their work right in the tablet. They don't lose their paper or leave it at home. So there is that accountability. The changes as far as teaching comes involved, I can make changes and update my lesson very quickly rather than having to go to the copier and make all these different changes.
I feel like there's certain advantages to having tablets and like using paper. Like tablets, you have access to the internet and other things.
The students are able to access the agenda and the class notes easily on the tablet. And then any pictures or chart paper or student work that we have, I can easily take a picture of it, put it into the class notes so the students have it with them. Also, feedback is much quicker through me looking at their work right away after school, through email, giving them personal feedback with it. Then there's the furniture.
The new furniture in the classroom is really cool because the oodles are spinning and they're colorful and it lightens the mood of the classroom.
We've only had the furniture since January, so it's not even been quite a little bit over 3 months. But I think the students have really adjusted to the changes in the classroom.
We have like more of a creative perspective in this environment, as if it was like standard and difficult to work in the last environment we were in.
They're given more of a controlled choice to be able to find an area that best suits them. The whole point is for them to be able to find the area that they can best learn at. So we're constantly moving around in the classroom.
One of the things that I really like about the furniture is how flexible it is and how you can move them around to make different groups.
We have several different types of groups that we do in the class. We have a fixed group for the entire unit. We have random groups, and then we also have choice groups. So the students don't just come in, pick their spot, and stay there for the entire class. Also, we have a lot more spaces on whiteboard for the students to showcase their work, be able to work in their group, learn how to show their work, and work together of what they want shown in the class. As far as my teaching changing, I think I'm giving the students more of a choice to be able to express themselves.
It's easier to like type because it's very, you express yourself in different ways, Yeah.
I feel like it's more of an open setting in this classroom. As far as me standing up in the front of the room, that's very rare. I'm constantly going around the groups, it's easier. So I feel like we have more of a conversation, having them lead the discussion at times and share their work versus me being the teacher standing over them.
I would say that my teaching hasn't really changed in the last couple of years. I would say honestly it's just the availability that we have. Having students one-to-one makes it easier for us to take advantage of the technology and for students to have access to the technology.
Definitely for the tablets, they're easier to carry around, and sometimes they might be a little annoying with the new technology, but I definitely think it was an upgrade.
The learning is a little bit more personalized, it's more student-centered. We work on projects, it's not a lecture-based class. In 80 minutes we're able to accomplish more than we would without the technology. It's more a change in the way that we're teaching. We're doing projects, it's more authentic assessment that we're focused on, and students have access to so much more information than they would if we were simply teaching in a lecture style or a lecture-based kind of classroom. Much of the teaching is asynchronous. Students are gaining access to information from either the internet or from our web pages or from Microsoft Office products that we're using. And so in terms of being able to follow along with the lesson, they can stop and they can pause and they can go back to any information and re-access that information.
And with all the chairs and the comfy couches and the desks, it makes the learning more comfortable and kind of a better environment to think and explore.
I would say the biggest change with the furniture and with the technology, it's more a change in the way that we're teaching. And so it's the teaching that's changed, and that's having the biggest impact on student learning.
So a few years ago with the iPad pilot, I found that having one-to-one technology in my classroom really changed the way that I was able to communicate with my students on a regular basis. I found myself being able to give much more feedback to students, finding ways to communicate with them more effectively, not just within the classroom, but also outside the classroom as well. I have a dialogue with the students all the time. Not only do I still get to communicate with kids through the tablets and through all the technology that we have, but I also find myself just spending more time with my students. With the introduction of the new furniture in the classroom this year, one of the choices I made was to get rid of my teacher desks. The classroom is not separated into teacher space and student space, and as a result, I find myself with the students more often.
You feel better about the kids.
I also have, I think, 28, 29, almost 30 places for kids to sit.
I like that you can kind of choose wherever you want to sit, and it's like a different area. Like, how are you feeling that too?
I really liked the whiteboards because it has a lot of space, so you can like kind of space out your thoughts more.
I like how like this classroom is super I like
the standing desks are really nice because being sedentary for like 6 hours is pretty bad.
There's always an empty desk for me to sit down with the students and work with them as opposed to work over them or work next to them. I can work with them directly, which has been really helpful.